I'm Ben. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Bitwala, and we're building the world's first blockchain bank. So I think most of the people in this room are convinced by the fact that everything is going to be tokenized. Yeah? Okay, cool. So yeah, we believe that everything is going to be tokenized. Putting things on the blockchain offers a number of technological advantages, like instant liquidity, like instant settlement and clearing, and also 24/7 trading. So as of 2019, we're still living in a world where the major exchanges are closed on weekends and for lunch breaks. So the question is still, if you can send a message to anyone in the world instantly and for free, why can't you transact value in the same way? And Bitcoin started to solve that problem. So our kind of big bet is that everything is going to be tokenized, and this isn't going to be an addition to your financial life. It's going to be a fundamental part of it. So currently, if you want to trade cryptocurrencies, you need to first of all send money from your bank account, from your main financial life, to an exchange, wait for that money to arrive, that can be 3 days, then trade back. Oh, sorry. I'll start again. Trade back, and then send the money back to your bank account, and then you can finally use it. So what Bitwala is doing is to make cryptocurrencies and tokens a fundamental part of your financial life rather than an addition. And so our mission is to be the gateway to the tokenized economy. So some personal experiences. Yeah, value is still a really messy part of the real world. In our last funding round, as a VC-backed company, it cost over 100,000 euros, and it took us 15 hours in a notary appointment. So I think that just goes to show what a large potential there is for a blockchain-based upgrade to the way that we currently look at real-world value. Also, I just flew in from Ghana, and there's a lot of awesome startups. But if a Silicon Valley VC wants to invest in one of these companies, they just won't be able to because of the legal framework of a US-based VC fund investing in an African company. It's very, very costly just setting up the legal fees. So if we can tokenize VC funds, and if we can tokenize startups and their equity, then we get to a point where capital can flow freely throughout the world, and there's benefits for both sides. Still no slides, but that's okay. So where did we start? We've been working on this project since 2013, and back then Bitcoin was really new, and the problem was that you couldn't spend it anywhere. So you could get Bitcoin and it was great, and you could send it to your friends, but you couldn't actually use it in the real world. So we said, okay, we have to solve this, and so we started making Bitcoin spendable. So we made allforbtc.com. I don't know if any of you remember that. Yeah, it was just a very simple shopping concierge site where you could buy anything for Bitcoin. So you would say, okay, I want to buy this TV on Amazon. You would tell us a link, and then you would send us a Bitcoin, and we would buy it for you. This went really well, and it took in quite a lot of money over its lifespan. But soon after launching, people started asking, okay, can I pay my rent with Bitcoin? Can I pay my mobile phone bill? And then we were like, no, at the moment it's just products, really. And then they went, oh. But then after a while, we realized, oh, wow, this is what people really want, and we can make a lot more money. So then we started working on the first iteration of Bitwala. And so Bitwala 1.0 was providing banking services. So you could make a bank transfer with Bitcoin. So if you wanted to pay your landlord, you tell us the IBAN, you tell us the amount, and then you would send us a Bitcoin, and we would make that bank transfer on your behalf. And then we also had a prepaid debit card. So this was kind of forcing crypto and the real world as close together as possible. But the way I look at it now is it was just a clever series of hacks. It wasn't a full integration. It was just some duct tape making these two systems work together as well as possible. And then we realized that, yeah, in order to solve this problem completely, we need to properly integrate these two worlds. And that's what we're doing today. And we are building the world's first crypto bank account. So our customers in Europe can sign up, and they get a fully licensed German bank account. The euro deposits are protected up to 100,000 euros. And inside of that, they also get a Bitcoin wallet where they hold the private keys. And you could trade directly between the wallet and the bank account. So normally you have to send your money to an exchange. With us, you can trade directly between the bank account and the Bitcoin wallet. So if you want to sell your Bitcoin, then it can be on a bank account legally held in your name within 1 hour, and then you can do whatever you want. You can buy a car, you can buy a house, you can take a loan. And that's what we're doing today. The long-term strategy is to be the home of digital assets. So right now, everyone's talking about security tokens, but it's a lot like teenage sex. So everyone is talking about it, but there's not a lot of it actually happening. And the truth is, we just don't know what it's going to look like in the future. So regardless of how the future is, our bet is that there's going to be a heavy emphasis on KYC and AML, because cryptocurrencies, to a certain extent, have bypassed this because of the technical properties of the blockchain. But when it comes to securities for which there is an existent legal framework, then it's most likely that you're going to have a high degree of KYC. And that's why we think it's really important that our customers are members of a bank. So by signing up for a bank account, you comply with the highest standards of KYC in Germany. And so whether you're trading commodities or tokenized real estate or any other kind of security, our customers will be able to do this inside of our platform. Other exchanges where the KYC hasn't been as strict, they probably won't. So we're saying, okay, it's better to go slow and steady, to work with the regulators. Our entire business model is approved by the BaFin, the German regulatory body, and to really create a foundation which we can build on in the future. I'll just pop back to some slides. Tokenization is going to happen. Most people in the world agree with this by now, and this is an important number to remember. It's $10 trillion worth of traditional assets will be tokenized, and we'll also be creating new forms of securities and financial products because of the technological offerings available. So what about the decentralized revolution? So for those of you who've been in Bitcoin for a while, you'll remember that back in the day, it was about replacing the banks. It was saying that Bitcoin is a fully functioning financial system, which means we don't need to have banks anymore. Banks are evil. Banks are middlemen who are taking as much profit as they can and hurting the little guy like us. And the promise was that cryptocurrencies, blockchain, would replace banks, and we could have a fully decentralized world. So this is a picture of that world. This is a country called Liberland. It's a micronation located between Croatia and Serbia, and it's trying to be a decentralized country. It's libertarian, so all taxation is voluntary, and you'll be able to do pretty much everything using smart contracts, like registering a birth or a business. And this is an artistic rendition. This is from a competition for how the city might look in the future. And this is the reality. So it's a little bit different. But the point I want to make is decentralization is happening, but it's not going to replace the existing solution. So something like Bitcoin, the value is native to the chain. If you hold the private keys, then you have access to the Bitcoin, and that's all you need. But something like a tokenized fund or tokenized real estate or tokenized gold, there's the blockchain part, but then the counterpart is the real world asset. And as soon as you start talking about the real world, then things get messy. Because then you need to start talking with lawyers, you need to think about different jurisdictions, and even if you have a token on the chain, there needs to be a real world link to that asset off chain. So what I'm saying is that centralization is necessary when we're dealing with the real world. And when you have centralization in finance, then there's a special kind of company called a bank that has the right to do certain things with people's money. And so we're not trying to say that banks will go away. We're trying to say that banks are, by the definition of what a bank is, a necessary part of the changes that we will see in the world. So our product today, what we feel we've done is to solve the age-old question. Ever since Mt. Gox, you've had to choose whether to keep your funds on an exchange where you can trade them, or in your bank account or wallet where they're spendable and secure. So with us, you can have both because your funds are protected, your euros are protected by German banking law up to 100,000 euros, and your bitcoins are held in a wallet where only you have the private keys. And you can spend your money via bank transfer or via MasterCard, wherever you want. So for us, we've solved the problem of tradable versus spendable and secure. You can have everything inside of our platform. So currently, we launched our new product. So Bitwala 1.0, which I was talking about, the prepaid debit card and the bank transfers. This went very well for a long time. But then in fintech, you're reliant always on partners. And in this case, our card provider, Wavecrest, bailed on us, which is just unfortunate. And so we went offline for most of 2018, and we were building our new product. And that was launched in December. And that's the crypto bank account I've been talking about. So currently, we're working with a white label banking provider. Current account business is really boring, so there's no point in reinventing the wheel. So we're using a white label banking API. But next year, we want to try and get our own banking license now that we've proved we've got product market fit. And so that's the main thing that we're going to be doing. Another important focus is B2B business. So if anyone here is a blockchain entrepreneur, you know firsthand how difficult it is to get your own bank account. So we have a company in our co-working space, BrickBlock, and they're doing real estate on the blockchain. And they are just using their bank account for normal, boring business things, like payroll, for example, or invoicing. And they have to pay 15,000 euros a month just to have access to this boring banking functionality, just because they have blockchain in their business description. And so what we see currently is that blockchain companies, especially the smaller ones, are chronically underbanked and have to pay a massive premium just because their business model has anything to do with blockchain. And yeah, this roadmap is really ambitious, and so we're raising money. The first reason is that getting a banking license is expensive, so it costs 4 million euros in Germany and takes about a year. And the second reason is we want to live the revolution ourselves. So I would be a hypocrite if I stood here today and told you that the world is going to be tokenized if I'm not even tokenizing my own company. And so we want to tokenize part of Bitwala and then make it tradable inside of the Bitwala ecosystem. So what we've tried to do is to structure our STO so that the token is as close to equity as possible. If in the future it will be possible to have equity living natively on the blockchain, and that'll be fantastic. But as of today, it's not possible anywhere in the world, to my knowledge. And so what we've done is we've created a token that's actually a form of debt, which has the properties of equity. So if we do an IPO, for example, you can flip your token for shares. And if there's an exit, then you benefit in those exit proceeds. And if there's a dividend payout, the same. So we've tried to be as equity-like as possible, given the current legal structure. And this is a complicated graph explaining exactly what happens. Yeah, so I think that the big differences that separates us from other security tokens is, yeah, first of all, it's as much like equity as possible. Secondly, everything is regulated, not only regulated, but also regulated in Germany. And Germany doesn't have a particularly good reputation for being a relaxed regulatory environment. So that's just part of our strategy to always go for the highest level of KYC, of regulation, etc. And then finally, we have a live product with traction. So we're not just a white paper. We've been in the space since 2013. The new product's been live since December, and we're already looking at some good numbers. Yeah, and then finally, we're backed by venture capital. So we have Earlybird, who is the seed investor of N26. We have DCG, which is the biggest cryptocurrency fund in the world. And we're also funded by the European Union. So just like our product is combining the crypto world and the real world, our funding strategy is the same. We're combining venture capital, which is the old world, and then we're also looking at tokenization, which is a new world, and we're actually combining both of these models inside of our company. And then that is extending to the team. So our team is comprised of crypto people like me, and also bankers, And we believe that it's really, really important to have a mixed team in order to, to cover both of the bases. It's combining these two worlds. So finally, we're looking for investment. That's the main reason we're here. The ticket size is a minimum 100K. And yeah, if you're interested, then I would love to talk to you. And the other thing I'm looking for is good JavaScript developers. So if anyone knows any good JavaScript developers that wants to relocate to Berlin, then please come find me afterwards. Thank you.